नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नाम्नि नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण
Krishna
हरे
Krishna Hare Hare
हरे
Hare
राम
Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Yes. So anyone remembers in last session what we discussed?
Buddhi yoga, buddhi yoga, buddhi yoga.
Buddhi Yoga.
Yeah.
Yes, in Buddhi Yoga what we discussed?
कृष्ण ने बुद्धि योगा के ऊपर ज्यादा स्ट्रेस दिया इनको अर्जुन का.
So we discussed 2-3 verses.
Yes.
In that we discussed about Buddhi Yoga. Yes, continuation of Buddhi Yoga. So Krishna was explaining about how Vyavasaya Atmika Buddhi, when our intelligence, when our mind is aligned with the instruction of Krishna or scriptures, how we can attain the success in our life, and our life can be peaceful and full of harmony. So that was the Buddhi Yoga, and Krishna was explaining, and how when our intelligence is many branched, is diluted, is divided, it causes simply distraction. Further, Krishna tells about the Vedas.
Yes.
That men of a small intelligence, less intelligence, how they get bewildered by the Vedas, by the ritualistic ceremonies of the Vedas, fruitive activities of the Vedas, that they forget the purpose of the life itself. And they simply get completely bewildered or completely lost in those activities itself. And further, Krishna, he explained how this mentality of enjoying the senses, sense enjoyment, Bhogeshwari Prastanam, how this sense enjoyment mentality leads to the fall down.
Yes.
Fall down means one does not develop a taste for the devotional service. One will not be able to develop the taste in Bhakti Yoga, devotional service, and eventually one will fall down. So we'll read further. We'll continue verse number 45th. So, verse number 45th shloka. Traigunya Vishaya Veda
त्रैगुण्य विषावेदा
Nishtragunyo Bhava Arjuna
निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन
Nirdvando Nitya Sattvastho
निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो
Nirayoga Atmavan.
निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्.
Yes, anyone would like to chant this shloka?
Yes, Hare Krishna. त्रैगुण्य विषावेदा नैस्त्रैगुण भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्व नित्य सातस्थो निर्जगक्षेम आत्मवानम्.
Someone else?
त्रैगुण्य विषया वेद निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्.
Wonderful. Is someone else? Okay. We'll read the translation. The Vedas mainly deal with the subject of the three modes of material nature. Rise above these modes, O Arjuna. Be transcendental to all of them. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Traigunyo Vishaya Veda. These Vedas, they deal with the three gunas. What are the three gunas? Satoguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. And these three gunas are born of the material nature. These three gunas are born of the material nature. Nishtraya Gunyo Bhava Arjuna. And Krishna is telling, be free from all these three gunas. Nirdvando Nitya Satvastho Nirogya Shema Atmavan. And Krishna is advising Arjuna to get free from all such dualities, because these Vedas, they deal with the dualities, and such dualities causes anxiety. Anxiety for what? Gain. I want to gain something. As previously Krishna has told in the 43rd verse here, that how fruitive activities, Vedas are full of fruitive activities, such full of fruitive activities. And fruitive activities is what? You perform certain activity or certain action, in result you will get or gain something. Just like you perform certain activity, you will get heavenly planets. You perform certain activity, you will get good husband, good health. All such activities, when we perform, we get some result out of that. So Krishna is telling to get free from all such dualities, because these dualities cause anxiety from gain and hankering. And Krishna is advising one more thing: be established in the self, Atmavan. What is this self? We'll read the purport and we'll try to understand. All material activities involves actions and reactions in the three modes of material nature. They are meant for fruitive results, which cause bondage in the material world. The Vedas deal mostly with fruitive activities to gradually elevate the general public from the field of sense gratification to a position on the transcendental plane. Arjuna, as a student and friend of Lord Krishna, is advised to raise himself to the transcendental position of Vedanta philosophy, where in the beginning there is a Brahma Jignasa, or question on the supreme transcendence. All the living entity who are in the material world are struggling very hard for existence. For them, the Lord, after the creation of the material world, gave the Vedic wisdom advising how to live and get rid of the material entanglement. When the activities for the sense gratification, namely the Karma Kanda chapter, are finished, then the chance for spiritual realization is offered in the form of Upanishad, which are the part of different Vedas, as Bhagavad Gita is the part of the fifth Veda, namely Mahabharata. The Upanishads mark the beginning of the transcendental life. As long as material body exists, there are actions and reactions in the material modes. One has to learn tolerance in the face of dualities such as happiness and distress, or cold and warm. By tolerating such dualities, become free from anxiety regarding gain or loss. This transcendental position is achieved in full Krishna consciousness, when one is fully dependent on the will of the Krishna. So here, very interesting points Prabhupada has made out, that in this material world, whatever activity or whatever action we perform, those actions has certain reactions. Either it can be good or bad. Those reactions will come to us in the form of happiness or distress. And these activities are under the influence of modes of material nature. These activities which cause certain good happiness and distress is the fruitive results, and it causes the bondage. This is the cause of the bondage in this material world. And these Vedas are full of such activities. Vedas basically, it comprises of three sections. Those sections are Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda and Karma Kanda. So people in general, they get entangled in the Karma Kanda itself. Hardly someone will approach Jnana Kanda and forget about Upasana Kanda. Upasana Kanda is what? Is about the existence of the self, is about the self-realization. Now, these Vedas are given by Supreme Lord Himself, as Krishna says in the 15th chapter, Vedasya sarvair aham eva vedyo vedantikrit vedavid evam chaham. From me Vedas has come. So how these Vedas can be, Krishna himself is telling, come out of these Vedas, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, rise above these Vedas, these modes, these Vedas. So Krishna himself is telling, rise above these. Why Krishna is telling? That Prabhupada answer in the purport. Prabhupada is saying, when Krishna, Lord gave this Vedas, for what purpose? That living entity, they are struggling in this material world for their existence. For their existence, they are struggling very hard. In different ways, there is a struggle. Somebody is struggling at a bodily level, somebody is struggling at a mental level, or somebody is struggling by some other living entity. All such struggle is there that living entity is going through. For that purpose, Krishna gave Vedas, this Vedic wisdom, this knowledge, these scriptures for all of us. But what happens? The living entity, it get lost in the karma kanda itself, sense gratification itself. It get lost there itself. Forgets to make further progress, to come to the level of Upasana Kanda. It get completely absorbed in all these ritualistic activities about the gain and loss, about sense enjoyment. All these things, he get completely absorbed. He forgets the purpose of life itself. Just like a person, suppose he is working in a company. Now he is so much absorbed in the work itself that he did not even take his salary. Even that salary is not giving that pleasure. So that it happens when a person gets completely absorbed in fruitive activities. And these Vedas, they deal with the Deha Dharma. Deha means body, bodily Dharma. Deha Dharma. What is Deha Dharma? You have this material body. You have certain duties to perform. You have certain duties to perform. Just like as soon as we born, we have certain obligations towards our parents, towards the society, towards the general living entities, towards the various demigods who are taking care of this existence, like sun, moon, fire, Agni Dev, Vayu Dev, Varuna Dev, Indra Dev, towards all such living entities, towards all such friends, relations, and demigods, even sadhus, rishis, we have an obligation to perform. We have an obligation to perform. And Vedas, they tell about how to perform all these obligations. Just like a person is there, he is a male. As a male, he is a husband. So he has some husband duties to perform towards his wife. all such duties, all such obligations Vedas talks about. In those obligations, duties, we forget what is our real duty as a eternal spiritual soul, spirit soul. We forget our duty, that we have to make a spiritual advancement. We have to come out of this cycle of birth and death. We forget all that. And these Vedas, they deals about this Deha Dharma. So now, as a husband, he has certain duties to perform. But here, Krishna is telling rise above these modes, means come out of these modes, be situated in transcendental platform. So does it mean Krishna is telling that we should leave all these duties, get free from all these things? So I have this question from all of you that Krishna is telling here. So does it mean that we should leave our duty, our family, all that?
No, Prabhu.
So what we should do? Krishna is telling here.
Prabhu, we have to do our karma, but without the attachment, and in means doing all our duties as doing service to Krishna
Okay. Anyone else would like to share?
with bhakti bhav.
Yeah, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. So we should continue to do our duty, our service, but our purpose should be that we are doing it in the service of Krishna, and whatever the fruits we get from those services, those fruits we should offer to Krishna. So fruits of those services we should offer to Krishna.
Yes. So, just like you have mentioned very nicely, both of you, as a matter of duty, we have to perform these bodily duties, but not as a primary duty. Just like in a bank, there is a cashier. He is dealing on daily basis with lakhs of rupees. He is handling all that, but he is not attached. Or suppose that cashier, he develops attachment towards that money, that this money is my money, I am the owner of this money, and he is not allowing that money to store in a certain this thing, room or whatever it is. He is not allowing all that thing. He is not allowing to hand over that custody of the money. He wants to take that money with himself. So what will happen? Immediately, manager will call the police. He will report the higher authorities that so and so cashier is not handing over the money to the bank authorities. So what will happen? Further prosecution will happen. Further examination of the condition will happen. And he may land up in mental asylum. That there is some problem with his mind, that he is understanding others people money to be his own money. That cashier may say, oh, these people only handed over that money to me, and I only counted, I am only dealing, so this money belongs to me. So it is certain kind of less intelligence dealing, a person with a less intelligence. So same way, if we develop the attachment towards all the things that has been provided by the Lord, either this body or the resources or the relationships around ourselves, it is like a situation of that cashier. Same way, we may also get prosecuted by the laws of nature. So to come out of this material existence, it is very important to get free from this. We have to deal as a matter of duty. We have to perform those duties in connection with Krishna. Just like this cashier is receiving all the cash in connection with that bank. so and so bank, he is receiving in that connection of bank, he is receiving the entire money. Same way, in connection with Krishna, because everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya Sham Hidi Sannivishto, everything belongs to God. When in connection with the God, we deal with all the things around us, we get free from all the obligations. We can come out all the modes of material nature. We can transcendence all those modes of material nature very easily. Ishtraigunya Bhavarjuna. We can easily come over all these modes when we connect that things in relationship with Krishna. So that is something very important for all of us to understand. Now, there is further one that Prabhupada had made very nicely. That these Vedas, the people in general to make gradual progress. But people, they get absorbed in sense gratification, all these fruitive activities. So as a result, or to make further progress, how it is possible? That's why it's very important to have a sadhu sangha. To have a sadhu sangha, by which, just like Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, himself is guiding Arjuna. Same way, it is very important to have a person or a sadhu who himself is making spiritual progress and helping others also. When we are under such guidance, it helps us to come out of this cycle of birth and death, or all these ritualistic activities, and further we make progress and comes to Bhakti Yoga. For that, it is very important to have a bona fide representative of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now we'll move to next verse. Very interesting verse. Yavan artha udapane sarvataha samklodkai tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vignataha. Translation: all purposes that are served by the small pond can at once be served by the great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. In India, if we refer some 100-200 years back, in a village, because India is a country where lot of villages, moreover village country, 100-200 years back, only few cities were there and mostly villages were there. So there used to be lot of wells from which people used to draw water for their daily activities. So those wells, different wells used to be there for different purposes. For eating, for drinking, or for cooking purpose, there is a different well. For deity worship, there is a different well. And for other activities like washing the clothes and all these things, there is a different well. And even now, if you go to some South Indian temples, for worshipping the deities or cooking for the deities, there is a different kind of well is there, from which they draw the water and use that water, utilize that water in the service of the deities. But if there is a river is flowing, fresh water is flowing, all that fresh water can be utilized for all the purposes, because that water is fresh water, it is not contaminated water, or it is not stagnant water. It can be used for all the purposes, either for cooking, either for drinking, or deity worship, washing the clothes. For every purpose it can be utilized. Same way, Krishna is telling here, all the purposes that are served by the small pond can at once be served by the great reservoirs of water. And similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. A person who is aware about the purpose of the Vedas, he can serve all the purposes. We'll read the purport, very interesting purport. The rituals and sacrifices mentioned in the Karma Kanda division of the Vedic literatures are to encourage gradual development of self-realization. And the purpose of self-realization is clearly stated in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Vedas is to know Krishna, the primeval cause of everything. So self-realization means understanding Krishna and one's relationship with him. Here, if we'll see, the definition of self-realization is mentioned. What is self-realization? Self-realization means to understand God, Supreme God, Krishna, and one's eternal relationship with him. What is the eternal relationship with him is, we are all his part and parcel. And acting on that relationship is what is the process of self-realization. We'll read further. The relationship of all of the living entities with Krishna is also mentioned in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The living entities are part and parcel of Krishna, therefore, survival of Krishna consciousness by the individual living entities is highest perfectional stage of Vedic knowledge. Now, in this, Prabhupada very nicely has mentioned that this Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas, it is full of rituals, various sacrifices, which helps one to make gradual development in the process of self-realization. Now, what is the essence and purpose of the Veda is, Vedasya sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid evam chaham. Aham eva vedyo, from all the Vedas, I am to be known. That is the purpose of the Vedas. From all the Vedas, Krishna has to be known. And when one understands Krishna, he can understand everything. It includes everything. It includes this material creation. It includes about ourselves. It includes all science. It includes everything. And giving this Krishna consciousness, telling about this thing to the world, is the highest perfectional stage of Vedic knowledge. It is the highest welfare activity. Spreading this message of Bhagavad Gita, spreading this Krishna consciousness, spreading the teachings of Krishna is the highest welfare activities, because it deals directly with the spirit soul, not with the deha, not with the body. Because this body is made up of 5 elements. Whereas this body is temporary in nature, spirit soul is eternal. It remains forever. So giving that knowledge about the spirit soul is the highest welfare activity. And how this knowledge can be realized is further mentioned here. Aho bata swapacho te karyan yad jivagre vartate nama tubhyam te pustapas te juguvuhu sashnur arya brahmanunushur nama granati yete. Oh my Lord, a person who is chanting your holy name, although born of a low family like that of a Chandala, dog eater, is situated on the highest platform of self-realization. Such a person must have performed all kinds of penances and sacrifices according to Vedic rituals and studied the Vedic literatures many times after taking his bath in the all holy places of pilgrimage. Such a person considered to be the best of the Aryan family. So here it is mentioned a person who is chanting the holy name, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Even though he may be belong to lowest of the family, he is situated on the highest platform of self-realization because he is chanting the holy name. And such person, how he can chant holy name? He must have performed all the activities, all the ritualistic activities, all the penances, all the sacrifices. He must have done all these things. That's how he is able to chant the holy name of the Lord. While meeting people, sometimes we meet that it is difficult for some people to even pronounce or to chant the holy name. Why? Because they have not developed sufficient sukruti to chant the holy name. So how it is possible to develop that such sukruti is to constantly try. Just like Valmiki Rishi, he was not able to chant Rama. Narad Muni, when he asked to chant Ram, 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 he could not able to chant. So in association of such devotee, Narad Muni, what he told, okay, you chant Mara, 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 Mara. So what came out? Ram came out. Ram came out. So in association of devotees, when we chant, even though we may not be qualified, gradually we develop that qualification. We'll read further. So one must be intelligent enough to understand the purpose of the Vedas without being attached to the rituals only, and must not desire to be elevated to the heavenly kingdoms for a better quality of sense gratification. It is not possible for the common man in this age to follow all the rules and regulations of the Vedic rituals and injunctions of the Vedantas and the Upanishads. It requires much time, energy, knowledge, and resources to execute the purpose of the Vedas. It is hardly possible in this age. The best purpose of the Vedic culture is served, however, by chanting the holy name of the Lord as recommended by the Lord Chaitanya, the deliverer of all fallen souls. When Lord Chaitanya was asked by a great Vedic scholar, Prakashananda Saraswati, why he, the Lord, was chanting the holy name of the Lord like a sentimentalist instead of studying a Vedanta philosophy, the Lord replied that his spiritual master found him to be a great guru, that he asked him to chant the holy name of the Lord, Krishna. He did so and became ecstatic like a madman. In this age of Kali, most of the population is foolish and not adequately educated to understand the Vedanta philosophy. The best purpose of Vedanta philosophy is served by inoffensively chanting the holy name of the Lord. Vedanta is the last word in the Vedic wisdom, and the author and the knower of the Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna. The highest Vedantist is the great soul who takes pleasure in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. That is the ultimate purpose of all Vedic mysticism. So here, the purpose of the Vedas is to know Krishna and to relish chanting the holy name of Krishna, or relish all the activities that are related to Krishna. Relish the association of the devotees, relish hearing about Krishna, relish Krishna Prasadam, relish holy name of Krishna. That is the essence of all the Vedas. Relish the holy places. That is the purpose. Now, here Prabhupada is mentioning in this particular age of Kali Yuga, these rules and regulation of the Vedas are not so easy because of lack of time. We have a very less time, less resources and knowledge. Just like to perform a yajna, there is a qualified brahmanas are required. At least 3 to 4 brahmanas are required to perform a yajna. And those yajnas, brahmanas used to be so pure, so powerful that just by chanting the mantra, they used to ignite the fire. Just by chanting the mantra. That was the qualification of the brahmanas. But in this particular age, that is not possible. So what is the Yuga Dharma? Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam. Alo nasti va nasti va nasti va katir anyatha. Only holy name of the Lord Hari, the only process. There is no other process, no other process, no other process which can save us. So these rituals, if you see nowadays across the world, the next generation, upcoming generation, when they acquire education and they study, our mind becomes very rational. We want to understand the things. So we simply don't accept things without any logic, without any reason. We want certain logics and reason to perform anything, to do anything. So when these rituals are performed, they don't want to do. They claim those rituals as some superstitious activity of the tradition. Just like now Olympics are going on. In Olympics also there are a lot of rituals they perform. After opening ceremony, there is a certain ritual. Closing ceremony, there is a certain ritual. Ritual basically means what? It is a certain activity or a ceremony or a formula. But what does Vedic ritual mean? Vedic ritual mean certain activity or a formula to connect with the Supreme Lord, which help us to connect with the Supreme Lord, which help us to make a spiritual progress. That is the purpose of this Vedic rituals. So these rituals like performing arti, all such rituals or yagna, performing yagna, until and unless these rituals or these activities are performed artfully, Supreme Lord Krishna, we don't accept. Because Supreme Lord Krishna, he is a Bhavagrahi Janardana. He sees the intention. He sees the consciousness when we offer something to him. What is the intention? That is what he sees behind every ritual or every activity we perform. Whether we are doing that activity or as a ritualistic or spiritually we are doing. Spiritual means soulfully we are doing. With what intention we are doing. Just like sometimes some person they ask, oh, how much time it will take? Yagna, please finish off in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, don't take much time. So it is what? It's a ritual. Whereas when we do artfully, love and devotion, and when we offer that activity to the Supreme Lord, it pleases the Lord. And that activity becomes spiritual. Just like a person is there he prepares a nice gift for his mother with nice packaging. Everything is very nice. And when the mother, she opens that gift is carrying some abominable thing, like suppose a stool. That gift is carrying a stool, not some pleasurable thing. So even though everything he has done nicely, very nicely packed, everything he has done very nicely, but at the end, what mother sees is it is a stool. Or suppose another son, he gives a gifts, he is packed and nice flowers or some nice gift is there. So mother, he feels very happy. Same way Krishna, Lord, feel very happy when our intention is very pure and when our love is there. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakta prashati. When a devotee, he offers even a flower or a water or a leaf with great love and devotion, I accept. Krishna is telling, I accept. So, this helps us to make spiritual progress. When the ritual with good intention, with the love of Godhead is offered to Krishna, it becomes spiritual. Just like this session, Sunday session, lot of people attend. It has also become like a ritual. Every Sunday it is happening. But when we implement the teachings and try to implement those teachings or hear sincerely, attentively when we hear, it becomes spiritual. It becomes spiritual. So a ritual without pleasure, which is not pleasing to the Lord, is like we are putting ghee on the ashes. In the yagna, in the fire sacrifice, we offer ghee, which is the offering also, and which keeps the fire ignited also. But when fire has, completely subdued, now only ashes are remaining. Now we are offering that ghee is of no use. Similarly, ritual without love for the Supreme Lord is like wastage. So how to develop that love is through chanting, through hearing about the Supreme Lord. One can develop the taste and love for the Supreme Lord. Just like regarding this ritual, Prabhupada states very nice story. Like in a marriage, there was one marriage ceremony, it was happening. So that girl, she sees that her mother, she has caught some cat. Cat came in that place and she has caught some cat with a basket while this marriage ceremony is happening. So what happens after a certain number of years when she gives birth to a girl child and that girl child grown ups, and now is the turn for that girl child to get married. So during that marriage, she thinks something is missing. During my marriage, my mother, she got hold of a cat. Now I should also arrange. So first of all, she search out for a cat. And after for a long search, when she got the cat, same way she catches the cat. So what happened? without understanding the intention, without understanding the essence, it became simply ritual. Such all ritual in our life we try to attend, we try to adopt. So it is very important, behind all such ritual, satisfaction of the Supreme Lord should be there. Satisfaction of the Supreme Lord should be there. Like Krishna, when he was personally present, performing his pastimes, he performed such a pastime and personally shown that example how ritual is not important. Once Krishna and Balram and all their cowherd boys friends, they went for cow herding, herding the cows in the forest. So Krishna and Balram and all the cowherd boys, they were feeling very hungry. So Krishna, he asked some boys, please go, and there so and so brahmanas are there, they are performing yagna, and in that yagna you can get some food stuff. So please take my name. Krishna and Balram is asking, they are feeling hungry, please give us some food. So these boys, they go there, they ask the brahmanas who are performing this yagna, please, Krishna Balram is feeling hungry, please give us some food stuff. So these brahmanas, they say, don't disturb us, please go away, we are doing very important activity. So these boys, they come back to Krishna and say, report him that what all has happened. Then Krishna says, okay, this time you go and ask their wives. And these wives, they, when they perform their daily activities, they used to hear about Krishna activities, what Krishna is doing. Sometime he is killing some demon, sometime he is performing some activity with the cows, he has lifted with the Govardhan hill. All such activities they used to hear, they used to discuss among themselves. So when they heard that Krishna Balram is feeling hungry, they have come to the forest. So immediately they gave the food. They gave all the food that was prepared for the yagna, that was prepared to offer in the yagna. They immediately gave the entire food stuff to these boys. And when they gave, now their husband, they are asking for the yagna offering. They have nothing to offer. So they became very upset, to the extent they scolded their wife. Whereas here, Krishna, he got completely satisfied with their offering. And when he comes, these brahmanas, they get completely bewildered that we are performing these yagnas for years together. All these rituals we are performing, but we could not get this opportunity to serve the Lord. We could not understand. When Lord himself, he came and asked, we could not satisfy him. Whereas our wives, they are simply, they are not even educated. They got the highest opportunity to serve the Lord, and he is satisfied. Whereas we could not even satisfy the Lord. We lost the opportunity. They felt very devastated. So Krishna, he personally shown through his this pastime that how the rituals are not so important, whereas the love, because Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardana, he is not after all these rituals, he is after our love. He is intention behind those rituals, because rituals help us to connect with the Lord, Supreme Lord. But what is your intention? Whether you are doing heartfully or what, this is what Krishna sees. When we perform those rituals heartfully, that becomes spiritual, because we are doing that is soulful, with soul. We are doing with full of emotions, with full of love. We are doing for the Lord. And one such example is given in Srimad Bhagavatam also. There were certain brahmanas and dacoits. They want to offer this bali, we say, to goddess Kali. They want to sacrifice somebody for the pleasure of goddess Kali. So what happened? They caught hold of Jada Bharata. And this Jada Bharata is the Bharat Maharaj, who is a great devotee of the Lord. He is a great devotee of the Lord. In the next birth, he becomes Jada Bharata. And after, by which this India is also known as Bharat, because of him only. So this Jada Bharata, he was not so intelligent, because when you are intelligent and all these things, there is a lot of complications also come. So in that birth, he was not so intelligent. So certain brahmanas, they caught hold of him that we will sacrifice you, we will offer you to the goddess Kali. For the pleasure of goddess Kali, we will offer yourself. So when they were about to offer that Jada Bharata to the goddess Kali, so immediately that Mother Kali, she came out of the deity and killed all the brahmanas and dacoits presented there. And she offers the respect to this Jada Bharata. Jada Bharata offers respect to Mother Kali, because he is a great devotee of the Lord. And these brahmanas, whereas they offended a great devotee of the Lord simply for some ritualistic ceremony. So immediately Mother Kali, she killed all the brahmanas just to protect the devotee of the Supreme Lord. And he offers respect, and like that this pastime happened. So the devotion for the Lord is something which is very important above all the rituals. If that devotion is not developed, then in the Bhagavatam it is mentioned, it is Shrama Evehi Kevalam. If our duty, if our dharma is not helping us to develop the love for the God, devotion for the Lord, it is a Shrama Evehi Kevalam. It is a simply waste of time, hard labor we are doing, but there is no result. It is a simply waste of the time. So when we perform such rituals with full love for the God, so what happens? We attract the mercy of the Lord. We attract the blessings of the Lord by performing such rituals prescribed by the Vedas. But at the back of the mind, it is very important to develop love for the God. When that love is there and we offer our activity to the Supreme Lord, we attract the mercy of the Lord. Because Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardana. He sees the intention behind our activities rather than activity itself. So when a ritual is performed with full of love for the Krishna or Supreme Personality of Godhead, it becomes a spiritual activity. Rituals become a spiritual when it is offered with the love. Okay. So anyone has any question or anything? And these rituals also help us to develop a good character which pleases the Lord. Like getting
Hare
up.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
I have a question regarding verse 45th that we read.
Hmm.
So in the purport it is given as long as the material body exists,
Hmm.
there are actions and reactions in the material modes. One has
Correct.
to learn tolerance in the face of dualities such as happiness, distress, or cold and warmth, and by tolerating such dualities, become free from the anxieties regarding
Correct.
gain and loss.
Hmm.
And this transcendental position is achieved in full Krishna consciousness. One is fully dependent on will of Krishna.
Yes.
So इसमें I just wanted to
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I am audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, you are audible. It seems he has lost a connection.
Oh, is it? Meanwhile, anyone has another question or anything?
प्रभुजी as प्रभुजी जैसे कि इसमें बताया गया कि रिचुअल्स हैं वो कृष्णा कॉन्शियस में होने चाहिए, साथ में एक और आया भाव भी कृष्णा के लिए होना चाहिए। तो इसके अलावा अगर हम कोई भी अपना रिचुअल करते हैं तो क्या वो सिर्फ एक रिचुअल की तरह ही रह जाता है या उसका कोई फल भी होता है? Because we are not into Krishna consciousness. That's my question is.
Yes. So just to this thing, question is whenever we perform a ritual, when we are performing in connection with Krishna, it is a Krishna conscious activity. But other rituals, there are so many other rituals also. When we perform those rituals, do we get result, right? This is the question, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. So the thing is, when we perform rituals, out of those rituals, it is very certain that we will get a result. That is sure. But what result we'll get? That result might be temporary also. But when we perform the rituals in connection with Krishna, in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, those rituals help us to make spiritual progress, to come out of the bodily existence, to come out of the cycle of birth and death. Whereas, suppose as a matter of duty, just as a ritual, I am chanting this Hare Krishna mantra, so some benefit I will get. Some, like this Hare Krishna mantra has a lot of effects, lot of good effects are there. I may develop a good health, this thing, that thing, so many such effects will be there. But love for the Krishna will not be there, and spiritual progress will not be there. And I will not be able to come out of the cycle of birth and death if I am not chanting in connection with the Krishna, with the love of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the difference. Hope it is clear.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji, it's clear.
Nice.
Another thing which comes out in this is that since this particular verse focuses only on chanting, इस पूरी तरह से holy names of Krishna पे है, तो क्या इसी वजह से हम chanting को इतना वो महत्व देते हैं, vice versa हवन और यज्ञ in Kali Yuga?
So each and every yuga has a prescribed process. Like in a Satyuga, there was a process under different times and circumstances in different yugas. There are different processes. Like in Satyuga, lifespan used to be 1 lakh years. So there was a process to self-realization was performing yoga, Ashtanga yoga, meditating, dhyana yoga, meditating of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Further in Treta Yuga, process was to perform yajna. In Dwapar Yuga, to do deity worship, construct big temples, all that was the process. But in Kali Yuga, the easiest process, because in Kali Yuga we don't have that many resources to perform yajna, that much lifespan is not there, that much time is not there. So simply by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, we can get self-realized. That is the process prescribed in the scripture itself. And in different yugas, Krishna came in different incarnations to establish Yuga Dharma. So in this Yuga also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Krishna came as a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to establish Yuga Dharma, that is Harinam Sankirtana, or chanting the holy name of the Lord. So that's why we take this direct process, prescribed process of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Okay.
Yes,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Prabhu, one more
Gaurav ji.
thing. What
You lost in
Sorry,
between.
yeah, I
Yes.
was lost in between. It's not a question, but I'm just trying to reconfirm with you. So the explanation for the verse says the Vedas deal mainly with the subject of three modes of the material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities. So Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna, be free from all these dualities. और वो last paragraph उस purport में as long as these three, as long as the material body exists, there are actions and reactions in the material modes. One has to learn tolerance. तो वहां पे कृष्णा बोल रहे हैं कि बी फ्री फ्रॉम, और यहाँ पे पर्पट में लिखा है वी हैव टू टॉलरेट. तो बेसिकली बी फ्री फ्रॉम इज becoming tolerable to those material modes or those dualities.
So here in purport and in this translation, little difference is there. In purport, in translation, Krishna is telling free from all dualities. You have to free from all the dualities and perform your duties, right? And in purport, Prabhupada is telling very contextual. What he is telling? He is telling, now we have this material body. Anyways, we have this material body. And in this material body, all this suffering, all this happiness, distress, all these things are there. So now what to do? What is the solution? Further we can get free from all the karmas, all these dualities. We can take care of that thing. All these precautions we can take care. But now what is the solution? Now still suffering is there. What is the solution of all this? That Prabhupada is telling that you have to tolerate. You have to tolerate. Just like Prabhupada gives very nice example. Fan is there. Fan is rotating. We turn off the switch. So what happened? Fan gradually it comes to stop. Not like immediately it's stopped. There is a certain momentum. After certain time, it gradually stops. It comes in that position. So same way, we have accepted this process of bhakti yoga, devotional service, but still there are a lot of difficulties. So now what is the solution? That solution Prabhupada is telling is to tolerate. As long as this material body is there, we have to tolerate. Material body is there means there is a suffering will be there, there will be reactions, actions and reactions, all those things will be there. So you have to tolerate and you have to perform the devotional service. So that is the context in which Prabhupada is telling here. So hope it is clear.
Right. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for explaining so nicely. And thank you for today's lesson.
Garima Mataji, you have any question or
Yes,
anything?
Prabhu,
Yes.
what I have understood out of this, yes, chanting of Krishna is very important, but at the same time, the bhav should be there. The bhav should be pure and in Krishna consciousness. Then only you'll reach to the Krishna consciousness or reach to the means result what you want out of this.
Yes. So
Because
what is
even if
this?
you do the duties, Prabhu, you are doing your duties, whatever are assigned to you, or karma you are doing, but if there is no, or even if you chant the name, but if there is no bhav, then I don't think you will get the desired result.
No, it is not like that. Especially this process of chanting. When we chant, first of all, we have to keep the intention for what purpose I am chanting. I am chanting the holy name for the pleasure of the Lord. It gives the pleasure. For His pleasure, I am chanting. So, as a austerity, because we are not getting any pleasure, initially we may get, but after some time we may not get any pleasure while chanting. So, as a austerity, when we continue chanting, so what happened? Gradually we develops a bhava. Gradually we develops the pure love for the Lord. So it is a cyclic process. There is a certain austerities involved to continue the process, and gradually we develop the love for the taste and love for the Lord, and gradually when we chant more, we develop more taste. Like this it happens. Then there is a no austerity. When we do after certain time, there is a no austerity. It will be completely from the heart. It will be completely from our heart. We'll be doing chanting and we'll be enjoying that chanting. So that bhava, even though that activity is not, not bhava is not there, love is not there, what we are doing. So back of the mind, that understanding should be clear. For what purpose I am doing? By this, Krishna will be pleased. By this, I am doing for Krishna's pleasure. When we have such clear understanding, when we have such intention, so what happened? Gradually we develop bhava also. Gradually we develop that bhava also. So with that shraddha, when we offer some activity to Krishna, it helps us to make spiritual progress. Hope it is clear. Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay. Any other question or anything? Okay. So we'll close here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki,
जय
Prabhupada ki,
जय
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु।
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna.